Whenever I look at a watch, I always try and judge it objectively on what is the quality of the fit and finishing, how well is it assembled, what's the design that's gone into it, what about the specifications, what is it doing that's different or new or innovative. But I've never really been fussed where it's been made or where it's been assembled, especially when you're talking about sub $500 watches. So why is it, when looking at high value offerings, there's 3 words that scare some people off and cause an immediate negative reaction? What is the problem with made in China? So let me preface my moan today with one point. When a micro brand assembles its watches in the place where it was formed, for example what Nodus does assembling their watches over in America, I think that's really cool. And of course, buying a Swiss watch has a certain charm and romance to it, knowing the history of the Swiss watch industry and what it stands for. And that's not my point today at all. When you're talking about smaller brands who maybe design their watches but then have them assembled in China, doesn't mean that it's a bad watch just because it comes from China. And this is what I want to get onto. And it's a comment that I see increasingly on micro brand reviews or smaller brands, and I don't really understand it. The question is, what makes a watch well assembled? And let's stick to sub $500 watches. So points that I'm always looking at is, how is the bezel alignment? It's something that we talk about a lot, especially obviously with Seiko. How is the crown operation? How is the threading? How is the alignment of the hands? Is there any dirt, debris or dust on the dial? How is the quality of the brushing? Is it a fine brush? Is it sort of jagged? Is it smooth to the touch? What about the polishing? Can you see ripples in it? Is it a sort of perfect mirror, ultra sharp and crystal clear in its reflection? How is the performance of a movement on the time grapher? How is the crystal? Does it have anti-reflective coating? How strong is the anti-reflective coating? Do I suffer with glare? How well is a date window integrated? How well fitted are the end links to the case? How about the finishing on the bracelet versus the finishing on the case? There's loads of points of consideration, and for me, when I'm reviewing a watch, I'm looking at all of these points and forming an opinion by sort of going through a checklist in my mind. But what doesn't matter is if the watch was assembled in China or not. Like I said, it can be good for branding, and it can give you a little bit extra if it ties in with the brand and it's assembled in their home country. But it doesn't mean a watch is fundamentally bad because it was assembled in China. I want to take a look at 2 examples today. Starting off with this Venezianico, which I think is a really cool watch. I really like the brand. They're designed in Italy. There's no information on where the watches are actually manufactured. So I'll assume, most likely, it's going to be coming from a factory in Shenzhen in China. Now, if I go through my checklist with this watch, is the bezel aligned? Yes. Is the action good? Yes. Is there any backplate? No. Is the crystal good? Yes. How about the engraving on the case back? Fantastic. Brushing? Perfect. Bracelet? Silky smooth. End links? Great fit. Crown operation? Absolutely awesome, just like my Swiss watches. I don't have any major gripes with this, and the gripes that I have are not to do with the way the watch has been assembled. There is no QC issues on this piece. So if the watch was assembled in Shenzhen, in order to keep the price reasonable and make it affordable for a target demographic, then what's the issue with this? Why would someone want to immediately draw a negative from that when they've never handled the watch and they haven't experienced it? I don't know if some people have just bought one Pagani or one Parnis from AliExpress and decided, oh, that's the quality of all Chinese assembled watches. Fundamentally, if you're a brand owner, obviously you go through a prototyping phase, at which point you're going to verify the fit and the finish of the quality of the components that make up the assembly of your watch. And at this point, it's down to the brand owner and the designer to iron out any flaws and overcome any issues with the factory. Now, assuming that your watch has all of the right ingredients and the parts are as you wanted from your prototype, then you move on to your assembly. And then the question is, how long is somebody going to spend assembling it? How much time and care are they going to take on things like hand alignment, bezel alignment? How is the factory's environment? How good is their clean room, their ventilation and filtration system for dust? How professional are the watchmakers? How well are they trained? How long have they got in order to build that watch. Ultimately, if they're going to check and do a 15-point check, say, on every single watch they're assembling, and make sure the alignment is perfect on everything, and everything is tip-top, the crown threading is buttery smooth, that's going to take a little bit longer. And the factory can do that, but then the brand owner will negotiate that and they'll have to pay more per unit. And this is simple economics. So it's why I don't understand this blanket need to tarnish watches assembled in China. You can take a $50 watch that was assembled in China or a $500 watch that was assembled in China. One could be excellent and one could be terrible, and it doesn't have to be in proportion to the price. It's really down to the whole process, how everything was set up, how everything was negotiated, and how much care the brand owner and designer is taking of their product. Taking a look at this Proxima Seiko homage, I think a lot of care was taken on this build. To be honest, I think it's assembled better than any Seiko that I've had sub $1,000. The crown is, again, buttery smooth, everything is perfectly aligned, the loom is better than it is on the Seikos, the bezel action is absolutely perfect, there's zero backplay. I would say it's arguably better than it is on the Seikos. The case is a really nicely finished monoblock construction. The brushing is better, again, than it is on the Seikos, sub $1,000. Obviously, this doesn't win any awards for design points. But again, just because it's made in China doesn't mean that it's a bad watch. So I really don't understand this argument and the willingness to comment on a watch that people haven't had in their hand, but they're still quite happy to quickly dismiss it because it was assembled in China. A micro brand can still put a huge amount of design and effort and personal design flair into a watch that's going to be assembled in China, and there's no reason why somebody born in China can't put a second-hand on opinion as well as someone born in Japan or someone born in the USA or somebody born in Switzerland. What's wrong with just judging each watch on its own individual merit and giving it a fair chance? Anyway, that is my rant for today. Let me know in the comments if you vehemently disagree with me and I've really missed something here. I'd love to have a nice, open and honest debate with you. If you agree, it'd be good to hear your thoughts as well. And as always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the content, please like, subscribe, and most importantly, hit the bell icon, or I don't think you'll ever see when another video goes up. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.